Hi, I'm Dr. Lori. It's good to be with you. Thanks so much for sharing the channel. I appreciate that. Spread the word. I'm going to praise everything on the table. You've been asking me about let's appraise everything on the table. I'm going to praise everything on the table. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to start right here with Stonelain. This particular piece is a piece of Stonelain, and you can see the Stonelain mark right here on the bottom. Do you see it? This particular piece is a beautiful, of course, glazed ceramic. Now, the quality of the glaze of the ceramic is going to be important as the form is. Value on this piece, $400. Stonelain ceramics, very, very desirable. And they make all different types. They make figural ceramics of things like roosters, and sometimes they're pictures like this one. I love the color. The color is luscious, and a lot of people will buy by color. Does it match? Is it something that's going to look good in my kitchen or on my shelf? That kind of thing. Beautiful piece of Stonelain right here, 400 bucks retail. I always give retail values based on actual sales records where similar pieces have sold, based on analyzing the market, not just looking at listings. Okay, then you've got the Libbey piece. This, of course, is a piece of Libbey frosted glass. It has, of course, the gold as well. Very, very characteristic of the mid-century modern era of the 1950s, 1960s. That's a nice piece. This glass, of course, utilized for beer, and it's got the nice stem, and it's got the little detail here, the finial detail there at the bottom of the stem, where, of course, the base comes. Value on that glass, about $25. That's a nice, nice piece. Then you've got this piece. This is the musical spoon. This is a cool thing. And I want to tell you a couple of tips if you're shopping, the thrift store, the yard sale, the flea market, you're going through the attic, you're cleaning out the basement, whatever it is. A couple of things I want you to look at. When you see this particular type of piece, I want you to be able to know when it's from. That's the first thing. So I want you to look at things like font. Okay, I want you to look at things like the font, right? I want you to also look at things like how the advertising is. So this is Baby's musical spoon. I'm going to put it together for you. And I always use my gloves because the oils on your hands can be transferred to objects and attract dirt to those objects and deteriorate them. So you put the spoon that they give you, this silver-plated spoon, right inside. You have to push it a little bit. And then you have to wind this little area right here. It's hard with these gloves. Okay, one. I always say when you're winding anything, a wind-up toy or anything that's an antique or vintage, I want you to wind no more than 3 times. Don't overwind 1,000,000 times. 3 times, that's enough. Baby collectibles, right? Not only the spoon, like this particular spoon, it indicates that it's plated. This spoon indicates that it's plated. You're looking at this particular piece and you would know just what it's for. And it's, of course, to attract baby to eat, right? Value on that piece about $20, but it's a good baby collectible, right? One of those things that people might want if they had one as a child or if they had one when they were feeding their children, that kind of thing. This next piece is a Fischer jewelry tray. This particular piece is marked Fischer, the Fischer jewelry tray here. And this one is a nice one, and it's, of course, brass as well. And it's brass with actual marbles or glass rounds. And it's a jewelry tray. People also use them for, you'll laugh, ashtrays. But as a jewelry tray, you would take it, and it would be sort of a trinket tray. And that particular tray, you would, in fact, put on your nightstand or put on your dresser, and then you could put your jewelry in it. Or maybe if you had an extra safety pin or that kind of thing in the jewelry tray. Value on those mid-century modern pieces, about $50. Nice condition. Of course, condition is always important for antiques. Then we've got this little rabbit. This little guy is a little rabbit, and he's made of chalkware. If you've never heard of chalkware, chalkware is an inexpensive ceramic type. And chalkware was given away oftentimes at things like carnivals and fairs. Chalkware is oftentimes figural, and chalkware, just like this particular piece, is relatively cute. Now, he is a candy container. So, candy inside of him, and then you break him apart to get the candy. That's where we also get that term to break the bank, but actually a candy container in this particular case. Value on this, about $10. Chalkware, not all that valuable. So when you're in a thrift store and you're looking at pieces, or you're in a yard sale and you're looking at pieces, look for the different types of ceramic and make sure that you are not selecting chalkware over a nice piece of earthenware ceramic, for example. Or maybe a piece of bone china like this next piece. This piece is a piece from Royal Doulton, and I'm going to show you the Royal Doulton mark if you don't recognize it. There's the Royal Doulton mark. Royal Doulton is that great English pottery manufacturer, very well known, of course. And this mark is iconic, very, very well known. This particular piece, my mother would say, is for nice, right? It's a decorative piece, and it has all of the different, of course, roses, flowers. There's some carnations. The different flowers mean different things. Many of you are great gardeners, better than me. I'm a lousy gardener. I kill everything. I have no house plants in the whole house. I kill them all. Roses, of course, love. Yellow roses, friendship. Then you have different types of flowers like, of course, the carnations, and the carnations are fidelity or loyalty in marriage. That's what they mean. They have all different symbols. Value on this piece in this condition, in good shape, and be careful. Don't think that you can clean this off by putting it under water. I want you to use a white cotton cloth to clean this off. This particular piece is worth $65. It's a very nice example of Royal Doulton giftware. Then you have, speaking of giftware, the nesting dolls or the Matryoshkas. Matryoshkas are, of course, the Russian nesting dolls, and they're in very good condition. This one only has 5 nesting dolls, so each doll goes inside of the other. So you would open up the doll, and then you place the smaller doll inside of the next size doll, and so on and so forth. If you look at this particular nesting doll set, you always want to make sure you have the set. If you look at this particular set, it is decorated the same on the face and also on the back. So the faces are all the same, and it relates to a particular region where they were made. So the faces look different and the nesting dolls look different depending on the different regions or areas of Russia where they were made. Oftentimes they're signed, right? Oftentimes the Russian nesting dolls are signed as well, and they were in fact teaching toys. So nesting dolls were first invented for little Russian kids to learn, in fact, how to read or how to learn folk tales. So they were meant as being didactic or for learning. And it was before, of course, they could learn to read. If you'll notice, there's usually on the belly scenes. They're usually scenes from a Russian folk tale. So they would have a doll and they would tell the story as they basically put the dolls inside one another, and they would have a nest. That was the idea. Value on this set of nesting dolls, about $150, came right from St. Petersburg, Russia. Very, very beautiful, hand painted. You want to make sure that when you're looking at nesting dolls, and I talked about this in other videos too, about how to identify, when you're looking at nesting dolls, you want to make sure that you are not buying the ones that are decals, where they put a sticker on it and then they just paint around to hide the sticker part, the edge of the sticker. So these, of course, are hand painted, and that's why the value is so high. You could get the ones that are 50 different nesting dolls, right? 50 dolls of the same set, and they're upwards of thousands of dollars. Very, very desirable. The next piece we're going to look at these circa 1950s button earrings. They are mother of pearl, and they are, of course, costume jewelry. So mother of pearl, not original pearls, mother of pearl essence. These costume jewelry pieces made, of course, by the Coro company, the early years of the 1950s. Value on the pair, $50 for the pair. They're really quite fine. Mid-century modern jewelry is still in. However, mid-century modern items are really starting to move out of favor. This particular set is also costume jewelry, and this particular set, how can you tell? I want you to look at the little ball at the end of this. That little ball on the end of this tells you that it's from the 1960s, 1970s. Why? Well, they started to use that as a way that you could clasp these pieces and that you can have the jewelry or the necklace be at this level or at this level, so you could decide which level you want these pieces on. You'll notice that there are screw back earrings. Both of them are screw back earrings. And then you're also seeing, again, the match. So when you have the set, you want to keep the set together. That particular set, dating from the late 60s, early 70s, value on the set, $75 for all 3 pieces. They're really nice. And a little versatile, too. The third set of earrings are these. I'm going to move this elephant a little bit so you can see them. The third set of earrings here are sometimes called prism or teardrop prisms. They're faceted cut crystal, and those are from the 1940s. Those are very, very popular during the war years when the GIs would come home and someone would go to a USO dance. Maybe those earrings would be worn then. The value on those relates to the number of facets in the cut, and also the idea that what you're seeing here are, again, screw tops. screwbacks. You know, a lot of us have pierced ears. I have pierced ears, and a lot of people actually prefer the screwbacks because you could wear most. But in the 1940s and through the 1960s, a lot of people didn't have pierced ears. So they had, in fact, the screwbacks or the screw types instead. So nice set. Those pieces, that set, the pair are worth $90 for the pair. Then we have this piece. This particular piece is from Japan, and it's actually marked Made in Japan. This piece is a piece of bisqueware unglazed ceramic, low quality ceramic. So when you see bisqueware, bisqueware is usually unglazed, and a lot of people like the look of bisque. That particular piece is a piece which in fact dates to about the 1930s, and value on it about $30. So knickknacks, tchotchkes, and other kinds of collectibles, always nice to have around the house. In terms of value, you've got to think about their quality and their value. Then we've got this piece. Well, that's the Dr. Lori Says mug, and you know it's priceless. This particular, I hope you'll share, and I hope you'll also, of course, have an occasion to get one of the mugs. I always say treat yourself. This particular piece here says Delft on the bottom, and that particular elephant says Delft. It is made of bone china, but in fact it's not made in the Netherlands. Just because it says Delft doesn't mean that it actually is made in Holland. Now, Delft ceramics are always blue and white, right? Known for that tradition. But in fact, a lot of these pieces are actually now, in the last, I would say, 25 years, were made in Asia, and then they put the Delft mark on it, and then they send them to Holland for souvenirs, and then a lot of people would buy them thinking that they are, in fact, native to the Netherlands or to Holland, and that's not always the case. When you're looking at these pieces, I want you to look for decorative elements, and I want you to look for handling of the decoration. What does that mean? I want it to be really detailed, and I want it to look good. If it's not really well detailed, it probably is not a piece of Delft. Delft is very high quality, and you want to look for that quality. Value on that piece, which is an inexpensive knockoff, worth about $20. Then we have, of course, the salt and pepper shakers. Now, tell me, you know when these salt and pepper shakers are from, because you can tell by what? By the font or by the print. Salt and pepper shakers like this, of course, are from the 1970s, and the 70s are big now, right? So some of the metallics of the 70s are coming back, like, of course, the very, very shiny silver. But these particular salt and pepper shakers are a very good example. I want you to look at things like fonts, right? Like, of course, type text, right? So this type or font is extremely indicated and obviously from the 1970s. So these are back hot. Value on the set, about $45. Then we've got, of course, some books. Books come up a lot when you're shopping, all different types of books. I always tell you, literature, you know, those particular fiction classics, Gone with the Wind, The Grapes of Wrath, those kinds of things, usually pretty valuable. Mark Twain's books are oftentimes popular, as well as Charles Dickens. And then children's literature and cookbooks are also oftentimes really desirable. They sell very well. So do art books, books about Monet and Picasso and such, if you resell them online. These are Peter Rabbit, the Peter Rabbit collection, children's books. And of course, Beatrice Potter is one of the premier, again, authors for children's literature, with the beautiful interiors of these nice drawings. Of course, the illustrations for which the Peter Rabbit books were so well known. Now, a couple things about this. These are the soft covers, right? The hard covers are really what you're looking for, but in this particular example, looking at the early 20th century renditions of these particular books are worth about $5 a piece. The ones with the hardcover in this same small format can be as much as $15 to $20 a piece. And then my last piece here for today is, of course, Barbie. We all love Barbie. Barbie's marks for most of the Barbies are on her lower back or on her buttocks, and you can see Barbie all the way through the ages from, of course, the late 1950s when she makes her debut all the way up until today. Now, a couple of things about Barbie. This particular Barbie is the 2014 Sports Illustrated swimsuit model Barbie. Here's what's happening. This is when two particular well-known brands are coming together. The Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition celebrated 50 years, And they said, well, who's our swimsuit model for that celebration? It was Barbie. So they took the original Barbie in her original 1959 swimsuit and made a new edition of course, the doll. So these were selling in 2014 for $20 for the doll, $19.99, and already they're up to $50 as collectibles because they attract the collectors of the Sports Illustrated swimsuits, model issues, and also, of course, Barbie collectors. So keeping it in the original package, that's going to spark value as well. I hope you learned some new stuff in this episode. I'm Dr. Lori. Go out and find those wonderful objects that are out there on the cheap and share the videos. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.